Thank you, Alfonso.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for just being here at Triumph Life Center with us today. I'm Sandra Addison Brito, and I feel like we are kin. We are kin. I know we are.
Yeah.
Both the tie between us being Princess of Golden Coffee and the African Universal Church. So I came upon your, I think through YouTube. I think I found YouTube or Facebook.
Yeah, you said you found a YouTube clip of a show that had just passed.
Right.
We did a Mother's Day event.
That was the one.
Yeah, at the National Black Theater. And you were like, oh, I'm sorry I missed this, but, you know, I was just happening upon all this, and you didn't know me at all, or my connection to Mother Princess Laura Dorothy Coffee. And it's just really crazy how we all connect.
Yeah, and so I remember when I saw the clip, I immediately sent it to my sisters, and they I didn't tell them what it was. And they were like, "What is this?" I said, "I don't." They said, "Who is?" I said, I don't know. I just read it." But yeah, it's just so interesting to hear you share the story of her and that rich history that has just traveled down all these years. Walking March 8th, 1928, when she was assassinated. And we are here today, and it's International Women's Day.
Yeah.
And it's Ghanaian
Independence Day was on March 6th. Yeah.
So all of this is coming together. I really feel, I know that Mother Coffee brought us together.
Yes.
That she's been, for me, she has been leading me to this place. About 25 years ago is when I first stumbled upon the history with the church in Florida and your granddad in the Schaumburg Library. I wasn't there looking at her. I was researching something else.
Oh, whoa, I didn't know that.
And I went to a Rolodex looking for something else, and I saw African Universal Church. I was like, what is this doing? And I asked me to be a flyer. And I ended up, I was supposed to be a few minutes, ended up staying there like half the day.
Wow.
Going through the file and making copies. And that's when all of this just started like a watershed, coming back and revealing that the church had continued in Florida, which I didn't know.
Right, yeah.
After my dad left, he left there in about 1930.
Okay. Yeah.
And then he never went back. He went to Louisiana where he met my mom.
Right.
And they got married and they came up north.
Well, that's interesting because like the community of Dorcaville wasn't established until the 40s,
Later
on. So I wonder if he still kept in contact or. Definitely, right, yeah.
If he did,
I hope they
didn't
knew
know.
each other. Well, now they do.
Now they do.
Us,
Now they do.
Yeah.
Because when I remember him talking about how much schism there was when she passed, because it was a lot of pain and hurt, and because she was so loved. You gotta understand, my dad had came under a tradition that didn't believe in women preachers. And when he left that tradition, Triumph Church, someone told him about Mother Coffee, and he went to hear her preach, and he kept going back. He joined the movement, and it changed his whole mindset about movement. This is 1920, when that was unheard of.
Right, yeah.
You know, he left that other church, and then he met Mother Coffee, and so she was a powerful woman. Just hearing the stories he would share about her. Even for him, knowing that he had went to this ministry that there's this woman that he was under.
Right, yeah.
But it changed his life.
Are there any like writings or recordings of him talking about her?
Of my dad? Oh yeah. We have like a reel to reel, those old tapes.
Yeah, because I'm connected like one generation down. So like Eli, my grandfather, never met her. Right. He only heard about her from the followers. But your father was a follower.
He was there.
Yeah, he was there. So I would love to know, what his experiences,
and when you're living with someone that has been in the experience. You don't always appreciate it until after.
I know.
But hearing you talk is like the tape was rewinding in my head because every year we remembered March the 8th, and there was another day in August that we celebrated her twice a year.
Right, twice a year, yeah.
And so this was just part of our religious tradition.
Yeah. Well, and my grandfather is actually buried near the branch in Alabama.
Oh no.
Right. So so it's like, on March 8th we go visit her grave. Which, have you been to her mausoleum?
I have.
Oh, you have. Okay, great.
Yes.
And so you've been to Adorkaville, or you stopped by?
I haven't been to Adorkaville. I didn't know about Adorkaville like that. You see, all of these pieces coming together.
Yeah.
I never heard the word Adorkaville until like 25 years ago.
Right. Yeah.
I didn't know. That's why I don't know if my dad knew that what continued after he left.
Right. Yeah.
Because I never heard that mentioned. I discovered Adorkaville in the literature when I was doing the research.
Right, and you heard about this. Yeah, exactly.
Well, there was a copy of that.
Oh wow.
At the Schomburg.
Oh whoa. Amazing.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that. Was
Yes. Yeah, and that's where I read through all of that. I learned about your granddad. I didn't know that he had family still alive.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy. A lot actually. He had 4 daughters, and then my mom had me and my sister. Then there's my aunt has 3 daughters, and then my other aunt has like 7 kids.
It's a big family.
It's a big family, so yeah.
So the part that really intrigued me, and I have this book here. Let me just grab it.
Right, the mighty baptism.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember seeing that as a kid.
I like this text because they make the connection. This is the piece that my dad didn't make clear when he was growing up about why she was killed. The story about how she was assassinated was verbatim almost. Her telling her security guards to sit down, and just the way that, such cowardice. I remember hearing the story as a child and just feeling the pain of what happened to her, being a woman, and that she was, from what I heard, such a loving person. But the connection about the Garvey movement and her, and she wouldn't visit Garvey when he was in prison, before he was deported, when he was in Atlanta Penitentiary. And it seemed like after that visit is when, from what I can gather, he turned against her.
Right.
And all this, word went out that she was a fake, and she was arrested and stripped, and he had to try to show signs of her heritage and all.
Exactly,
And my dad used to share all of that, the humiliation that she went through as a woman before the courts and before law enforcement. But my dad was also in the UNIA.
Right, yeah.
So, but he never made the connection to me that I recall that it was because of the feud between Garvey and Garveyism, his movement, and her, that she was killed.
Right, yeah.
I only learned about that through my research starting at the Schomburg. And that was a startling piece, because then it became clear that this was both a gender issue and it was a power-based issue. It had to do with gender, and that's why I like this text, because she makes this point very clear. This was a black woman stepping out of her place when women didn't lead in this way.
Right.
And she was surpassing this most powerful black man at the time. Marcus Garvey was the most powerful leader, probably bar none, that we've had that gathered people, still now, right? And she was surpassing him in influence.
Right. Yeah.
The preachers were beholden to her because she was so charismatic, from what I understood, and that she didn't fear nobody.
Right.
She was humble, but she walked with authority. She didn't conduct herself like a woman was supposed to.
Right.
And so she was someone to be reckoned with. So the gender issue was there. And the fighting between who was going to control Garvey's movement when he got deported. Because he was Jamaican, you know, and so he wanted his movement to continue. And I don't know that she ever wanted to take over the UNIA. I don't think that was her intention at all.
I mean, she left because she had to.
She had to.
They were threatening her.
And they were afraid of her influence.
Right, exactly.
They feared her influence, and her power was in her spirit, in her influence.
Right,
she was
yeah.
a woman that was deeply spiritual, and that power was there. She knew her
Right.
calling, she knew her purpose, and she walked in it.
Yep.
She walked in it with authority.
And that's when she started African Universal Church. That's
Yeah.
when she became vocal about, you know, the slogan is high, the most high warriors of warriors of the most high. So like, so she, you know, she knew that, like, from that point, and that's when she became known as the prophetess, and she began you know, having, well, she had visions always, but that's when she left. When she was with Garvey, it was mostly political. But then when she split and made her African Universal Church, it became deeply spiritual. Whereas the Garveyism movement was mostly like, you know, political,
yeah.
very political. So and for her it was you can't have one without the other.
Right.
So
Right.
her spiritual movement was also political. You know.
And she recognized that, but that's the African tradition that you spoke about today.
Right, yeah.
And a lot of blacks had to, they were able to weave the African spirituality in our tradition, Christian tradition here, undercover.
Yeah, that's right.
Where folks didn't always understand what it was, but they still practiced it. You know, they continued in that tradition. It was a rich, very powerful tradition. And she focused on the spirituality and the independence. I mean, she was raising, I think this is one of the things that my dad was drawn to her for, was that she talked about blacks in this country being independent, and self-sufficient. And telling them that they could do it. They could establish their own communities, grow their own food, and building that pathway back to Africa. She was opening a gateway.
Yeah, she had, her saying is there's only a thread between you and Africa.
Yeah.
It's only a thread.
And that connection, part of the colonialism, the indoctrination of the slaves and post-slavery in this country was to separate the intellect and the mindset of American blacks from African blacks.
That's right.
We were told over here that over there they're savages.
Yeah, that's right.
And then over there they were told y'all don't want nothing to do with those people over there. So there was this gap between us, the motherland. And Princess Coffee bridged that.
Yeah.
And said, there is an open door. These are kinfolk. And she came as mother for her children that was here.
And we're not as far as you think.
We're not
as far as you think. It's only a thread. And that was why she built her headquarters in Jacksonville, because it was one of the largest ports in the South. And it was a very close distance to Ghana.
Yeah.
So that's why she made her headquarters there.
That's amazing.
And she said, don't go to the big cities, don't go to the big towns, go to the towns that need to get built up. And she was totally against, like, just, you know, she said, don't just bring the pastors that can only just preach, bring people that can build houses, that can build communities and towns, you know, that's what we need, you know.
Yeah, she was very, from what I understand, she was very outspoken about the quote-unquote pastors that fleeced the flock. And she had no tolerance for the religion that exploited people and didn't build them up.
Right.
And a lot of the ministers and churches, you know, they didn't know what to do with her. They didn't know what to do with her.
Right.
They really didn't.
Right.
And but I'm just really pleased to meet.
Yeah,
my
finally.
family.
Yeah.
And to just be honored to be meeting your granddad through you, because he still lives through you. And I'd love to meet your mom at some point.
Yes,
and your other
it will
family,
happen.
and my other family in the African Universal Church.
Right, yeah. Please come down.
Yeah, we have to maybe have some kind of mother's children reunion.
Yeah, that'd be
at
great.
some point.
Yeah.
And just to bring us all together and meet each other.
That'd be beautiful.
I feel like that's what she wants.
Yeah.
Because she's been calling me, I know, for a long time. I didn't know it, but and she won't let me rest. That's why I met you. Every time I try to put it to
well,
the side,
that's so
she won't let
interesting
me
too,
rest.
because like you ran across it, 25 years ago, and then randomly, you know, because I had
randomly.
I like had what that was probably like 8 months after the show.
Yeah, yeah.
That you found it and reached out to me. So
She literally won't let me rest.
Mm.
And so I know that Liz, she still wants to speak.
Yeah.
And she wants her children to come back together.
Yeah.
And her story has to be told. And I am so pleased that you're telling it.
Mm. Likewise, yeah.
You know, she died an awesome death. No one should be shot down the way she was.
Yeah.
And you're telling it.
Mm.
So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Ashe.
Thank you.